I'm Merlyn Jeche. I was born in Wyckoff, Minnesota, May 8th, 1931.
So what did your parents do?
They were farmers, and I farmed with my dad until I was drafted.
Did you have siblings?
Yeah, one sister and one brother.
Were they ever involved in the military?
No.
And what were you doing, kind of leading up to being drafted?
Well, we're farming with my dad, and I just graduated from high school 2 years before. So.
What year did you graduate?
1949. So it was 4 years, I guess.
So you said you were drafted with a friend of yours. Can you tell me that story?
Well, I got my notice, and then my friend wanted to know if he could go with me, so I went to the draft board, and they said if we volunteered, we could go together. So we took our basic together, and then he went to Germany, and I went to Korea.
So when you went to training, how long was it, and what was it like?
Oh, I had 8 weeks of basic, and then I went to 12 weeks of radio school. I learned Morse code and all that in radio maintenance.
Did you have any kind of specialized training?
The only training we had is to learn the Morse code. We had to do 13 words a minute, I believe, in order to graduate. And then I was sent to St. Louis, or not St. Louis, Seattle, and from there to Korea.
And when was that?
We crossed the international date line on May 8th, which was my birthday, so I didn't have a birthday that year. Or I didn't celebrate it anyway.
What were you assigned to when you went to Korea?
I was assigned to headquarters company, 15th Infantry Regiment, 3rd Division. And we were on the DMZ when we were.
When you went over to Korea, where did you arrive?
At Incheon, and we rode the train up. They said it was Chowan City, but there was nothing there. So.
There was nothing at Incheon?
Well, we just got on the train at Incheon, and then we rode that to where Chowan City used to be. There was this rubble.
Can you describe for me the terrain and the train ride?
Oh, it was much like here, Minnesota, maybe a little more hilly, and there were kids, Korean kids along the track trying to sell different. They had a lot of jewelry. I don't know, but we didn't. I didn't buy anything. I don't know if somebody did. But.
What area were you stationed?
It was about straight north of Incheon. Used to be a town in Chowan there.
So that's where you were stationed then?
Yes.
Okay.
Just a few miles from the DMZ.
And what did your duties include?
We had to keep radio contact with all the line companies, and so we checked every hour. See that we could reach them on the radio and on the phone. And I had to keep the generators going and all that.
So what did a typical day look like?
Oh, get up and go to chow and have police call and do maintenance around it. Then he had to pull a 2-hour shift on the radio, which rotated so that we'd do it 24 hours a day. And that's about it, I guess.
Were there any friendships formed during that time?
Yeah, of course, the people in our platoon, and then we went to the service and checked out some musical instruments, and I checked out an accordion, so we had a band in our platoon. But I could only keep the accordion for a month, and then I came and got it. But we had a good time anyway with that.
What kind of things did you guys do for fun?
Played a lot of cards. Don't remember anything else, I guess, that we did special. Cleaned the equipment. I was on the farm, so I knew how to drive the truck that our radios were in. So I drove the truck every year, or every week, take it out and just run it down the road a little bit. We had to be careful so we didn't get in the DMZ zone. There was usually a sign, so we know when to turn around and go back. And I wasn't alone. Somebody was always with me. So.
Are there any stories or experiences that stand out to you?
Well, we had a lot of animals around, dogs and cats. The first Saturday I had did my inspection, the captain came by and he wanted to know if the things on my bunk were all military issue. And I said, yes, sir, I think so. I turned around and looked, and there was a cat with their kittens were sleeping on my bunk. They were all, we had them all around.
So before you went to Korea, what did you know about Korea?
Very little, just that I heard on the news about the fighting there. And I had some friends that wrote me letters what they were going through there.
So you had friends who were serving during the war?
Yes, I did.
What kind of things did they describe?
Well, about how they got run over by the Chinese, but survived. And I had a few that were killed. So I guess I had a good time.
What did it feel like, kind of having had friends who were there and shared their experiences to then be drafted and assigned there? What was kind of going through your mind?
Well, I was just glad that they'd signed the truce so that we weren't shooting at each other anyway. So it was a good time to be there, if you had to be there.
What did it feel like to be close to the DMZ, just following the truce?
Well, I don't know, nothing special, I guess, just be ready in case something happened.
Was there like nervousness that something would happen at all, or what?
No, I don't think so, because they just signed it, so it should last a little while.
Sure.
And we had drills every once in a while. They had ammo where we could go to get our ammo if we needed, because we didn't have ammo with us. We just had our rifles and whatever our weapons were. So we walked all day with an empty M1, but we knew where the ammo was.
So how much was the Korean War in the news, or what do you remember from the news? Like what was being reported, or how was it being reported?
Oh, that's a long time. Oh, I just remember how the campaign was going when the Chinese intervened and drove the troops back. I remember that. And
can you tell me about the friend that you wrote on here?
well, we got transferred around a lot from different companies, but we kind of seemed like we always stayed pretty close.
How did you meet him?
Into radio school. He was from Iowa, so. And we got together a couple of times after we got back. But then he ended up in Florida, and I kind of lost contact.
So when the war ended, did people respond at all when they heard the end of the war, or what was the response?
I don't remember that they did very much. Just was glad it was, well, the truce was signed anyway.
What was your reaction?
Well, I was glad because I didn't want to be over there when the fighting.
How old were you when you were drafted?
Oh, gee. I guess I was 20.
When did you rotate home from Korea?
Well, they sent the colors of the 3rd Division home, and I was transferred to the 92nd Armored Field Artillery. And I was with that unit, and they were transferred to Japan, so I finished my tour in Japan. So I didn't have to spend the winter in Korea. I was shipped to Japan in November. So. And I was there till August of 55. And I came home.
So when you returned home, what was it like readjusting to civilian life?
Well, my dad wasn't farming as much land as he did when I was drafted, so I had to find a different job. So I found a job installing telephones.
And what have you done since?
Well, then IBM was opening a plant in Rochester, and I applied there, and I worked there for 35 years.
What's your thoughts about U.S.-Korea relations today?
I think they're very good, as far as I know. Much better than North Korea.
Have you had a chance to go back and revisit it all?
No, there was a chance to go, but I didn't feel that I could go because medical reasons.
What do you think about the legacy of the Korean War and the Korean War veterans?
Well, it was a forgotten war for a long time, but it seems it's better now lately anyway.
What do you think is contributing to that change?
Well, one thing, the veterans are doing more, so they're out. People see us in parades and everything like that.
So how did your time in the military, how has that affected your life?
Well, I think I appreciate the things I have more. I've seen how other people had to live, especially in Korea after the war.
How has your time in military service, how has that affected your feelings towards military service or war?
I think I learned a lot in the military, how to accept orders and appreciate the things that I have when I seen what people were living through before, or in Korea.